This is Ragboy from Wake9 and welcome to my porch. It's a lovely day today in East Tennessee here by Norris Lake. If you didn't see the last time I did this, I live here in a big log cabin just a few miles from the dam at Lake Norris, and it's beautiful. We don't live actually on the lake with a dock because it can be really inconvenient. I'm getting old and I like that Walmart can deliver to me and such. But what we're going to talk about today is it's boat show season, and I'm getting a ton of questions about which size boat, you know, all the different options and which one is going to make the best surf wave, is going to be the best surf boat. That's the first topic. The second topic is that all surf systems are not equal, and there's a lot to digest there. I have a couple of videos that I've been working on, that I've been filming some tests and stuff, and then I'll condense that down to a quick 10-minute video like I normally do, and maybe have some graphics. But I like to work those thoughts out, and also those of you that are going to buy a boat, like for the boat show, you will watch almost any content that gives you more information that you can use, even in a format like this. And that's why I'm doing this. And I know that because when I was looking, you know, in the market for a boat, you know, over the years several times, I would watch anything that would give me, you know, more information that I could use to make a better purchase. And the last time I did this, I didn't get the same kind of views I would do on a very, an incredible surf drone video, like the kind of stuff we do. But I got a good response, and so I'd like to do more of these. And I've set up this system where I can do it by myself. You can see I don't even need a cameraman. My DJI Pocket 2 follows me, and I have a wireless microphone that goes directly to the camera. So I'm planning on just going right into my computer, tiny bit of editing, and releasing it. Today is January 28th, a Saturday morning, and I'm hoping to release this today. So before we get started though, as is my tradition, is I am going to smoke a cigar out here on my porch. That's one of my favorite things to do out here on the porch. I don't smoke often. I maybe only smoke a dozen cigars a year. But when I do, forgive the microphone noise, but when I do, I smoke a good cigar. This is a El Rey del Mundo cigar. It's been in my humidor for a while, and from Nicaragua. It's one of my favorites, and it is called Robusto Suprema, which basically means the big dude. This, my kids have affectionately named the face melter. I'm sorry for the sunglasses, by the way. It's just sunny and it's in the morning. I wanted to get this done early, and I will put chapter markers on the bottom of this video so that you can watch it later and skip right to the content that you want to see. But I'm going to kind of just chill and talk, and that's the format of this, and I hope that's okay with you. For some background, if you're new to Wake9, we've been wake surfing now since 2007, so what is that, like 17 years, and we started Wake9. This is our 15th season, which is really quite insane when you think about that. And our love for it has not gone away, mainly because of the incredible memories that we've had as a family. And that's really all it is. It's our family. This is what we do as a family. We love living by the lake. I have engineered my life to live by the lake. I grew up in Southern California, not anywhere near Tennessee. Moved to Northern California to be closer to a lake, and then moved to Tennessee to be next to the best lake I've ever been on, Lake Norris. And if you've watched my content, you know we've been on a lot of different lakes, and this lake is amazing. So there's many boat shows this weekend, and maybe you're going to one of them, maybe you're going soon. And a lot of the questions that I'm getting asked are related to the different sizes boats, especially with relation to Moomba. And I think one of the reasons that is this year we did several reviews or outings with several Moomba boats, which was a blast. I loved doing it, and I can't wait to do that again. With Super or Moomba or whatever, but it was a blast. And one of the things that we did different this year that I think made it so special is that in the past, when we would review any boat, let's say we would have the polar bear event, which we would go out with a bunch of other people, and those were great because you got a lot of time with those boats. The one problem with doing the polar bear event again is with the events that have happened over the last couple of years, which shall remain unnamed, is there's a lot of views on whether or not you've been given the jab or not, or whether you're going to wear something over your face, and people whether or not they want to get in the boat with you. And we just realized I don't want to deal with any of that stuff. So hopefully soon we'll be able to do more of that. But what we did this year is Skier's Choice said we'd like you to be able to take out some boats and see how they do the wave, and if you like them, put out a video. And especially, and this is the part that a lot of people have loved about our videos, is that we show you the wave from multiple angles, and we don't use any wide angle cameras, try not to do any kind of trick shots. And although, you know, sometimes we'll get a shot just that's so cool we keep it in, but for the most part, no wide angle lenses, no trick shots. And then we tell you, here's the speed we went, here's where how we set up the boat, here was our pitch and roll, and all that stuff, so that you can duplicate that at home. And I think that that's one of the things that's made Wake9 successful, is that if I put out these videos and told you, go buy this boat or that boat because I took money from somebody or whatever, or some benefit, I would be able to do this for a year or two maybe. But then I would just have no integrity because you guys would go try it and it wouldn't work. But over the years, people have watched our videos, run the settings that we give them, and go, holy crap, you know, or taken our advice and said, I'm getting the same results. And if they don't, they contact us, and maybe there was something they're missing or need some help on, and we help them. So I think that's one of the reasons those have been successful. And so we did that with, this year we did it with the Moomba Max, the Moomba Craze, and I believe there was one more. Anyway, and we've also done this with the Moomba Makai, the Moomba Mondo, and then obviously with our Super SL. And we just haven't had the opportunity yet to get out on that new Super SC, which I got to be honest with you, I'm dying to do. So let's just look at the Moombas for a minute, because the Moombas are the ones that people have been, you know, asking the most about because of those videos, and because I think also Moomba customers are a little more particular, because they're a Moomba customer, somebody that's maybe holding on to their money a little tighter than a Super customer. And I don't mean that in a negative way, because I've been on both sides of that. I'm happy to be pretentious sometimes and just have a beautiful boat that just, you know, cradles me in luxury, and I'm happy sometimes to be in something that's utilitarian that just makes it an amazing surf wake. So I don't care which one you choose, as long as it gets you out with your family and you're wake surfing. Man, that makes us happy, even if it's not a boat that we've reviewed. So you have the short boat like the Moomba Mondo, and then you have the 21-foot boat, which would be the Cayenne, and then you have the 22-foot boat, which would be the Craze, and then you have two 23-foot boats. You have the Max, and you have the Mojo, and then you have the big one, which is the Moomba Makai. And I'm pretty sure I got all of those pronouncements right. Somebody can correct me, but you know, I've spoken with the factory and I've done some of those wrong. Like, it's not Kraz, it's Craze. So I've been corrected. So I think all of those are right. But we can kind of go through there. All of those boats, for their size, Moomba has done an excellent job engineering those boats so that they have the maximum, as much ballast as you could pretty much get in them. They have a surf system that makes a great wave, especially over the last year. The last since like 2022, they've really made some improvements to the software and to the Flow 2 and Flow 3 systems that I think really is a big improvement over 2021. But so every one of those boats, I think for its size, is going to be, you know, in the top 2 or 3 for wake boats in that price range. But the big question is, which size boat is best to make a wave? And we could probably all agree that a 20-foot boat, you're going to get that because, one, it's what you can afford. That's great. Like I said, if it gets you out there, then that's great. Or there's some restriction with, like, you only can tow that size, or your garage only holds that size. So you have some restriction, or your lake, maybe there are some people that actually can't have more than a 20-foot, 21-foot size boat on a lake, for instance. So there's all these restrictions, and usually the 20 and 21-foot boat fit, and that's why people would choose those. Maybe not so much with the 21, but definitely usually with the 20. Now, I would say that as you go up from the 20 to the 21 to the 22, they just progressively make a better wave. Also, you're just more comfortable. There's just no question. I mean, I'm a big guy. When I'm in a Mondo, I'm cramped. It's tight in there. But I still can have a great day in that boat. And you know, we're able to surf well. But it's tighter. There's not as much storage. And the wave is just not going to be as big or as long because it's just a small boat. Now, as you increase the size of the boat, you increase that amount of area that you're displacing down, and it can increase a bigger wave. And with more displacement, you also get more energy, more power. And so go to 22, and it's better than the 21 or the 20. But there's a point where you get what's called like a diminishing return. And what do I mean by that? So when you get up to the 23, it also makes an amazing wave. And it requires more weight, more ballast, and if you use lead, more lead than the 22 or the 21. And then when you get to the 24, it starts to go up almost exponentially a bit. And I think it just has to do with, if you're gonna, the bigger boat, you would actually need to be wider as well, and you need more room to put ballast. And you know, once you get up to 24 feet, you start realizing that, one, you need a lot more weight to make the same amount of power. Now, if you do go for broke and you add that weight to a boat with a very similar hull, like these Moombas are all going to have similar hulls. If you do, go for broke and add all that extra lead to the Mackay to get, that same big size weight, it will be better than the 23. So don't let me give you the misconception that a 23-foot boat is just going to be a better wave. No, you can make a better wave in the 24, but at what cost? That's the point. The other thing, and this is especially true with the Moombas, is you don't have as many options with bigger motors. I think this year you may, but when you start packing in all that weight, you're not going to be able to do it with a 400. Maybe you can if you get a more aggressive prop and work with Acme or Orange and get a more aggressive prop. You'll just lose a lot on the top speed. Like, let's say your boat has a top speed of 40 miles an hour, as an example. You'll put a more aggressive prop, which will allow you to surf with a 400, even with a lot of extra weight, but your top speed may be 33. And that doesn't bother me, really. I 25 miles an hour is about all I ever go. That's the fastest I go. But the way I boat is I live 7 minutes from the ramp, so I can go be at work here. I work at home, and I can throw on my trunks at 5 p.m. and get in my truck. My wife and my daughter will have it prepared, or my son, and we'll drive down. We'll be surfing by 5:30, and we'll put in, 3-4 hours until dusk and have an amazing time. So we don't really have the need to be driving from one location to another where I need to have that top speed. You may lake in a place where, like maybe Lake Mead or Havasu, and you because that's, I used to do that when I lived in Southern California. You have to go to, go to the river somewhere. Let's say you go to Lake Mead and you put in the water, and then you got to go find somewhere that you can get some smooth water, which can be very hard. So you got to think about all that when you're buying the boat. So all that said, that 23-foot boat is a sweet spot. Now, it used to be 22. Years ago, we would always say the 22-foot boat is a sweet spot, and that was because mainly you had 20-foot boats, 22-foot boats, so 20, 22, and then you would go to 24. Now, because it's become so popular, it's like they have a boat for every foot, and 2 boats at the 23 size in the Moomba's case. So once the 23 size came out, I think generally everybody kind of has come down to, yeah, that's the sweet spot, and I think there's universal agreement on that pretty much. I mean, maybe one manufacturer is a little bit different, but so that is basically the answer. Is that you have to think about those diminishing returns. You have to think about, is your motor going to be able to handle it when you have that 24-foot boat and you only want a 400? And, a lot of people say, listen, if you buy a boat that's this expensive, you should not be worrying about gas prices. Gas is what gas is. But here's the thing. Gas is expensive. And when you go up to the bigger engine, like the 550, so let's say you're paying $4 a gallon, that's about reasonable right now. It's more or less in places. And if you do it if you have your boat's on a slip and you're paying at the marina, you're paying a lot more. Let's just say it's $4 a gallon. Well, premium is going to be, $6 a gallon. And when you go to the bigger motor, like the 550, you have to put premium in it. Add to that, and we're going to talk about this more a little later about some of our techniques for making a wave, but making that sweet wave that we make at Wake9, we like that pitch up a bit, and then the speed up, and we're going to talk about that more. But that makes an amazing wave, but it uses more gas. So these are all things that you need to consider. So, and then, you may have a large family like we did, 6 kids, and really a 24-foot boat was, 23 we were able to do. 22 was more tight, and the 24 was amazing. So, and, we can also talk about this a little bit with, on Supra, you have the SL, which is 23 feet, and then you have the SE, which is 24 and a half feet. So I think it's actually 23 and a half and 24 and a half. And the step from the SL to the SE, it's a big step, because I just don't, it's definitely a big step to go from, let's say, the Mojo to the Mackay, or the Max to the Mackay. But for some reason, the SL to the SE seems different. I called it the Lake Limo. It's huge. There's so much room in there. And I got to be honest, I love it. And I think it's worth the $550 if that's something you can afford, because it just is this huge. You can invite 3 families, or 2 families including yours, and which we've done. And you just seem to have room for days. But, you have to put a lot of weight in it. But that boat has a lot of room, and you're able to fit it in there. You also have to tow it. And for me, it's easy. Like I said, I'm 7 minutes away from the ramp, so it's not much for me. But if you got to tow that thing from, from Southern California to the river, to Lake Mead or something like that, that's a much different story. So you got to think all of that through. But from 2013 forward, there basically are two types of surf systems, and then in between there's variations a bit. So you have what the original surf system, well, let's say before surf system came out, you basically weighted the boat down and you leaned it over. Like, I just got these sunglasses. They're just replacements. My prescription changes, got a new pair. And I was remembering that I lost many pairs of sunglasses where I had to only buy cheap sunglasses because every time I get an expensive pair, I'd lose them in the boat. And I was trying to remember, why did that happen? It was because, being the big fat guy, I'd always sit in the corner of that boat that's listed over, sometimes in that old 24 VE and the original Z3 was like 12 to 14 degrees at times. And so you're sitting leaning back like that, and then a rope come and the rope would smack my glasses and they just go right in the water. And that happened a bunch of times. I think I have probably a couple $1,000s worth of sunglasses on the bottom of Lake Oroville somewhere. And so that's how it was done. You just weighted that boat down, and the way you made a wave was with list, leaning the boat over. And then you could form the wave by how much weight you put in the back, how much weight you put in the front, your speed. And we didn't have a complete understanding of how all of that worked as much as we do now, but at the same time, we knew how to make a good wave. And it was a ton of fun. Then, and leaning the boat over is necessary because what it does is it causes the water behind the boat to come together at different times. So basically, when the water comes together at the same time from the back of the boat, it just makes that normal V type wake, which you've seen 1,000 times. But when you lean over like that, it causes one side to not meet the other side at the same time. It's delayed. And so what happens is that this side forms into a full wave, and that's what we surf. So Malibu figured out, well, we can put this thing on the side of the boat and have it jut out, and that will, we'll call it the surf gate, and that will do something that they termed delayed convergence. And delayed convergence is basically the same thing as when you list a boat. It causes that delay and it makes a wave. So, it revolutionized the wake surf boat industry, so that's fantastic. Now, the thing is, when those first came out, we tried them and went out on them, and they're great. They make a wave, but they didn't make a wave that was better than what we could make with listing the boat. And, some of that, and I think the main reason for that is that, and this is true still today, there is no surf system that can take the place of a well-engineered hull. And you can really take that to the bank, is that, there's a lot of boats that will surf, and you can go buy one of those side suckers and put them on the back and it will make a wave. But go and try them all and see the difference. For instance, some boats, they're not going to have very good push. They just, no matter how much weight you put them and so forth, you just don't have enough power to catch up to the wave, especially if you're a bigger person. That's one thing. Another thing is the shape of the wave, or the face of it might be just dirty and full of turbulence, and it's just, man, it's not pleasant to surf on. Maybe it doesn't have a lip, or it just doesn't. If you've seen our videos, that's a beautiful looking wave. And there's another part that people miss a lot. Everybody understands push, because push is that power you feel when you're riding the wave that propels you towards the boat. And it's push that allows you to recover from maybe you kind of foible and you start to fall back, and you can recover because this boat has more push than another. Or maybe it also makes a wave feel longer just because you can go farther back and you can still have push. So there are just so many reasons why push is an amazing thing, and universally, when people feel a boat that has a lot more push, they love it and can appreciate that characteristic. But this other characteristic, which we've talked about before, but it's called the transition, And basically what the transition is when a wave, I'm trying to get my hand in here. So when a wave is, think of this as the face of the wave and this is the flat part, you know, is that basically the transition is this point where the water transitions from being flat to going up the face of the wave, okay? On some boats, this is steep and abrupt. And when that happens, you notice right away when people are surfing, and you'll see them when they're, you know, doing carving or maybe even a bottom turn, that sometimes they'll get the front of their board caught in the wave and then they'll nosedive. And it happens a lot. One of the things that I absolutely love about all of the Skier's Choice boats is their hull design makes an amazing transition. It's beautiful. And it's not the only one. Centurion has a great transition as well. You know, Nautique, they make a great wave, but in their wave was always known to be a little steeper and didn't have as good of a transition. But I understand that their most recent hull has improved that a lot, so I don't want to throw shade. But we have not had a chance to really be on that latest hull. But so we'll leave that open. But transition is hugely important. And I just mentioned those three boats, three manufacturers: Nautique, Skier's Choice, and Centurion. I kind of put those at the top of as far as manufacturers go, and everything else, you know, their hulls, some are better than others, but I've just never really experienced the type of engineering that I see as far as hull design goes, and making a surf wake that comes out of you know, those three manufacturers. And so, you know, that's important. And so now we're talking about we talked about delayed convergence, and there's another type of surf system, and this is the type that's on the Skier's Choice boats, Moombas and Supras, and I think on the back of the Centurion boats would also be similar to this, where they're basically trim tabs on the sides of the boat. And what these do is that they adjust to put the boat in a position that makes the best wave, which is still a little bit of list. So where a surf gate runs mostly flat and level and uses delayed convergence to make a wave, where these other surf systems are more designed to put the hull in the right position to make the best wave. And it is my opinion, and you know, we've been doing this for a long time, it is my opinion that the surf system that puts the hull in the best position is going to give you the opportunity to make the best wave. I will go a little bit further and say it also highlights how good your hull is, because when you have a surf system that says, let's let this hull do its job, that how the engineers have shaped this hull to do its job, then you're going to get all the benefit of that. And we're going to dive into that a little bit more. I'm going to give you a little bit of an example. So I'm going to show a little clip here. You can see me at the sink, and you can see with this spoon that I can run the water, and then when the water touches the back of that spoon, it all of a sudden sucks to it, and then the spoon will stay attached to that water. There's a you know, surface tension in the water that's, you know, sucking that in there, and that's called the Coanda Effect. Now, in the old days, these boats, they had a hook on the bottom of the boat. So you have the front of the boat would come down, and there's the rocker, you know, at the front of the boat from the bow, and comes back, and then they would be, you know, kind of flat going back, and then at the very end they would have a hook that would, you know, divert water down. And the reason for that is because these boats were not designed to displace. They were designed to do the opposite. Wake boats in the beginning were ski boats, and ski boats were designed to get the butt out of the water to make as little wave as possible. And then people just threw tons of weight in them to be able to make a surf wave, but they were fighting that hook. Well, you can go underneath, and I've gone underneath, all of our boats that we've had for the last several years, and they no longer have that hook. It just goes flat. So you have a curved surface on the bottom of the boat that comes cleanly out the back, and then you have a plate. Now, what that means is that curved surface, when running through the water, is going to have some suction, and it's going to have that Coanda effect. And you want to take advantage of that. Although I have heard another manufacturer claim that on their boat the Coanda effect is like worth 1,500 pounds of ballast, which, yeah, I don't think so. And but at the same time, that same manufacturer also advertises their surf system, where you push buttons and it moves the plates to give you a steeper or a shallower wave. And that's where I'm going with all this. Let's talk about that kind of thing. Let's talk about these plates. So on the back of the boat, you have almost every single boat, I think every single boat, has a plate in the center at the back of the hull that adjusts up and down, and it's called the wake plate or the taps plate or the surf plate. Who knows? It's called different things, but it's that main one right in the center. When we give you our settings, and we've been doing this for a couple years, we've always said get that plate up as high as it'll go, or in the range of 0 to 25 on a skier's choice boat. That's pretty much all the way up. But we just basically say keep it all the way up. Why is that? The reason is, the moment you put that plate where it starts touching water, you are counteracting your displacement. You are basically saying everything that we've done to put this boat in the water, for the hull to suck down, for the hull to do its work, to make an amazing wave, you're basically putting a plate to artificially lower the pitch of the boat, so that, because when you lower the pitch, you can make a longer wave. Okay, that's true. But if you do it with a plate, you're doing it by counteracting your displacement and pushing the back of the boat out of the water like that old hook used to do. Although it's with a plate, you can, it's way more than just a little hook. So it doesn't make any sense to have that plate and use it to bring the pitch of the boat down to make a longer wave. Or in its inverse, if you normally surf, and what a lot of these boats do is they surf with the plate in the middle, which is down, and then that allows you to lift it up to make your wave steeper, and to put it down to make the wave shallower. And what that does is it's raising the pitch of the boat up, and that makes a steeper, shorter wave, but it will have more power, more push usually. And then you put the plate down, and it will give you a longer wave, but you will have a bit less push, a bit less power. But you can do that with the plate. And I filmed this, and I'm going to be releasing a video later. You can do an experiment yourself, and that is make an amazing wave with the plate all the way up, okay? And get the pitch of the boat using a kilometer, or if you have a skier's choice boat, it will have the reading on the dash, and get your pitch up to 9 degrees, 9.5 degrees, which on a skier's choice boat, that's primo. But on other boats, it might be a little different. But get that pitch up to where you have that wave that is amazing, okay? And then bring it down, okay? And when you bring it down, do it with weight. So by moving water to the front, moving some lead up to the front, people, whatever you want to do it by weight, and bring that pitch down, leaving the plate in the back all the way up, and the wave will get longer, and the push will be a little bit decreased, okay? But let's say you went from pitch 9.5 to 8, and let's say that the wave got X number of feet longer, and it reduced the pushes. Let's say you could measure it, maybe it's reduced by 15%, let's say. Now, do the same thing, but this time, bring the pitch of the boat down, and don't use weight, but don't move the weight. Instead, put your plate down, artificially lower that pitch, and see what happens with the push. The wave may get longer, but look at the face of your wave. Is the face of your wave just as clean? There's no turbulence or anything in it, because those Those plates can do that. They'll get air underneath them. They cause turbulence, especially when you're counteracting that Coanda effect and counteracting that displacement. On top of that, if you could measure the push, you're going to notice it's significantly less than if you than when you did the same thing. So you lower the plate, get your pitch down to 7 versus moving weight and leaving the plate up. You will notice that if you don't touch the plate and use weight, your wave is better. It's cleaner. The transition's usually better because that plate's not interacting with it in any way, and it has more push. Why is that? Well, it's because you're not counteracting that displacement at the back of the boat. You're allowing the boat to suck in there and displace. You may save gas though. If you use the plate, you'll probably save some gas money because you won't be, because the whole point of making a wave is your boat becomes a plow. You're basically a water plow, and that's how you're making the wave. I hope that was easy for you to understand. I'm actually going to show this experiment in the spring. I have a video I'm working on. I need to get the boat again and film a little more video. But I think this is really important to understand. Using weight to adjust your pitch will make a better wave than using the plate. And the plate does nothing more than adjust that pitch. It is the pitch that is changing whether or not your wave is longer or shorter and so forth. Let's talk about one more topic related to this. And it's what we call here at Wake9, we call it the OG Wake, the Wake9 OG Wake. And that is something that we discovered a few years ago, is that, and this is, I don't want to take credit that this is our invention or anything, but it's just a surf community thing too. You just keep playing with your wake and you make a better wave. And one way to do that is, like I said, you get that pitch up. So Supra would bring us boats, and they usually would bring us the boat and they would demonstrate it to us at about an 8 or so pitch. And we found, and we'd be going 10.5 to 10.8 miles an hour. And we would take it out and we would immediately get the pitch up to 9.5 and speed up. Now, this is the magic part. You cannot just raise your pitch and leave your speed at 10.8, for instance, because then you will end up with a short, stumpy wave. It might have good push, but it'll be short, and you need length. You need that ability to play around back there. But if you lift the pitch up and you speed up, you get this magic combination where the wave is still plenty long, still plenty big. It's big, and it has still tons of power. And that is the magic combination. And in order to get that though, you also got to have that wake plate out of the water. And I've seen this on other boats as well. So all that said, this is why I think all surf systems are not equal. And this is why years ago we said we want to be here at Skier's Choice because of Autowake. They have the multiple pumps in each quadrant, these really robust pumps that move water quickly. And I'm going to demonstrate this more in the spring to show you how we do this to adjust our wave. And with Autowake, you can adjust that pitch and get that wave to and not touch your plates, and you end up with the best wave. And if you do that on your boat, even if you're not on a Skier's Choice boat, you probably have to have a clinometer because you probably don't have those readings on your dash line, and it probably won't hold. So I can set 9.5 pitch and just leave it, and my boat will do the rest. It'll keep it there. That's why I love Autowake. But the point is, having a surf system that it uses weight to adjust your wave and lets the hull do all of the work is superior. It's my opinion, but I can get you out on the lake and I think I can prove it to you. Let's talk about one more thing. Many of these surf systems will also give you the ability to make adjustments on their tabs. So you adjust the tab and it will make the wave, also can make it shorter, steeper, longer, shallower. It's the same thing, in my opinion. And let me give you the easiest way to explain this, I think, is like this. What is a wave? Look it up in the dictionary. A wave is energy traveling through a medium. Okay? So with our surf wave, it's energy traveling through water. How does that happen? Well, the boat is displacing water and traveling through it at a speed, and that causes a hole from that displacement, and the water has to go back in to fill it up, and it creates that wave. I mean, that's a simple way of doing it, but it does that. Now, just because you can make a wave by displacing water, stick your hand out when you're going 10 miles an hour and push your hand in the water and try to make a surf wave. It's not going to work because of the shape of your hand and so forth. The point there is the hull is what's doing it. And the hull is what creates that wave and that energy in a way that gives you the best surf wave. As an example, we learned a long time ago that some boats, when they make a surf wave, that energy that comes off of the wave behind the boat is more directed to the side, to make it simple. And then some boats, the wave hooks around the back of you more, so that that power that you feel is directly pushing you more directly to in the same direction that the boat is traveling. And when you have two boats that have the same displacement, they're identical, so you're displacing the same. Even the plates are up, and they're both making their best wave. Okay, but one boat has a hull that gives you that hook around you more, and another boat has and you can see it if you look at the wave with a drone. You'll see that the wave on the boat, the one that has the hook, you'll see the wave hook around you when you're surfing. And the boat that doesn't have that, the wave is more straight. It doesn't hook around. And just that feature creates the sensation of a lot more push, and it makes a better surf wave. So it's an example of something that is completely, that is basically that feature is due to the hull and the engineering that goes into that hull. Now, I'm willing to accept that when these things were first discovered, it probably was a lot of times an accident. Somebody went, hey, how come that boat does that? And then people go and look into it and figure out that, well, here's what's different, and that makes that, and you go from there. And a lot of engineering that's being done with these boats is done that way. Some of it's trial and error, but that's okay. And my point is that one of the things I love about these skiers' choice boats is they have that characteristic. You usually notice when you ride behind one of those boats is that they just propel you. They have that power. And you say, well, how can I have more power, more push with the same displacement? This other boat maybe even has more ballast. Well, it's the hull. It's those plates. There's a lot of things. So now talking about I'm sorry that I kind of go around a little bit here, but that's the nature of this podcast. I'm working my thoughts out. Is when they're adjusting those trim tabs on the right and left, okay, what's basically happening is that you are going from a wave that is 100% fully formed to 50% fully formed, as an example. So when you set those plates to their position where they're making the biggest, most powerful, cleanest wave, there's going to be like one position. Like, let's say on my Supra SL, that plate is at 90 on one side, and then when I go to the other side, the plate that comes down is at 80. I can make that plate go to 40, and it will make the wave different. Okay, and it might make it a little shorter, let's say, if I bring it up. And then say when I deploy it more, it might make it longer, as an example. Well, basically what you're doing is when you bring that plate up and you're taking the boat out of the position that makes the optimal wave, it's in essence, you are saying, I was surfing on 100% of my wave, and now I'm surfing on 60% of my wave. Well, what do you think that does to the power? to the power that's propelling you forward. Because when you are not fully deployed on those tabs, well, that energy is getting dispersed to both sides of the boat, not just the one side of the boat. So what you're doing is that wave is becoming less formed, but that energy is now not being concentrated where you're surfing. It's now, some of it's dissipating out the other side, as an example. And so because of that, you might have a different shape wave that you may think, I like this type of wave better, but you're going to lose energy. You're going to lose power. So we set our plates always, and we've been doing this for years, to that optimal position that gives you the best wave. And so how do we adjust our wave from there? With weight, with Autowake. And I know that all of that probably sounds like, okay, how much are you being paid to shell Autowake? And well, I understand that, but come ride with us and let me show you, and I'm not being paid anything. There for sure, because of the how much time we've been doing this, and the fact that when people watch our videos, they go buy boats, there's no question that we get benefits. The Moomba, a skier's choice, lets us play with their boats and we're not paying for it. At the same time, we could say, I want to get a cut of the boats. I want to get some monetary, something back, and we've never done that. I don't want to. We never, everything is always year to year. If Skier's Choice comes to us in the spring and they say, we'd like you to try the SE, and we get on it and it blows our minds, which it always seems to do. They're such great engineers. They always seem to blow our minds. Which is like, please, just allow me to ride this boat over the summer. And we will make videos because we want to. That's how it works. And if they brought us a boat that doesn't, we'll say thank you very much. And we move on. And we've done that before. That's how we started with Skier's Choice. So, take that for what it's worth. And watch our videos and see that we show everything that we do. We're showing you the wave. We're putting big people behind it and normal people, and we go take people for rides constantly and share our boats with others. And people contact us all the time, as we showed this last year. People contact us and say, hey, can I come ride with you? And if we can, we will. So just, let us know ahead of time when you're coming to this area. And man, we'd love to meet you, or even go and help you on your boat. And even if your boat is not a Skier's Choice boat, I don't care if you have a Natique or a Mastercraft or whatever else. We might be able to go and help give you some tips on how you might make a better wave. And people always ask, well, how much do you charge for that? And well, we don't charge anything. I make a good living with what I do, and wake surfing is all for love of the sport. It's all for fun. So I think we went through a lot of stuff. I have some other topics that I'd like to share. So please, in the comments, I'd love to do a podcast like this about how Wake9 started and the history and how we got here. I think that would be a lot of fun, and there's enough time passed that I think I can do that now. And I also would like to, there's some great stories we've had over the years that I'd like to share and kind of archive. And doing it like this is easier than trying to edit some fancy, I want to save that for, 6 times a year we make a review or do some great footage with the drones and stuff and do it. But I also want to be able to do what we're doing now. And I've been talking now for over 50 minutes, which is absolutely nuts. But that should tell you what happens when you get me sitting down with a cigar and talking about wake surfing. I wax on. I just wax on. But so I hope that was helpful for you about the size of the boat. And give me your comments on what you think about what I said about the surf systems. I know I'm going to get some hate, and that's okay. But what I'm telling you is based on that experience over all of those years. And I have videos of RJ and I hanging off the back of boats, putting cameras and sacrificing, GoPro cameras that end up at the bottom of the lake because we're trying to get video in places you're not supposed to get video, and creating our own wake plates with different shapes to see what they do and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, all that said, it's cold, but I really enjoyed this. I'm going to finish my cigar. I hope you've enjoyed this too. And Yeah. Enjoy the boat shows, and I hope you find the boat that you're looking for. And most of all, you enjoy it with your family and your friends. You go wake surfing, and feel free to come out here sometime to Norris Lake and reach out to us, and we'd be happy to go out with you. We'll take a ride on your boat, and you can take a ride on our boat. Have a great day.